This amazing bug right here is Monialema. No idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Never heard any two people pronounce it the same way. But this is a Cactus Longhorn Beetle. They live down in the southwest deserts. They actually range up pretty far north, but they're very common in Arizona. It's a good-sized beetle. You can see those white markings there along the antennae, and two spikes on either side of the pronotum. They're capable of biting, and so I'm not displeased that it's right there above my fingernail. The thickened little sections there behind the tarsi, pretty adorable, almost like they're wearing moon boots when you're watching them move. And so I've set up a tank here for them. And in captivity and in nature, they eat these prickly pear pads. They're also commonly found on cholla. Cholla is an evil plant. I've had a few bad run-ins with them over the years. The plant is sometimes called jumping cholla, and you'll be walking there through the desert, through a field of cholla, and parts of that plant fall off, and I suppose that's one of the mechanisms that the plant uses to disperse its kind. The plant might be near you, and then all of a sudden, if you're wearing shorts or even pants, it's stuck into your leg, and it's really a horrible thing to try to remove. It takes about 4 sets of hands to make it happen. I've had it on my leg before. I think it took a friend about 20 minutes to extract it using a couple pairs of tongs and forceps that we were lucky enough to have along, because it's not an easy plant to remove with your bare hand since it's entirely covered in spikes. These pear pads are both available on eBay, I've just learned. I think they're like $7 or $8 with free shipping. You get maybe a pack of 3 of them. Very good thing to know for keepers who may not live in places where they have Mexican stores, which is where I found these. These are available at some grocery stores. And so I've just set up this tank for them. See, I've put in about this much substrate. I've raised these in captivity before. I mixed a little bit of coconut fiber in with the sand. It's probably not necessary, but it's how I've done it in the past, and so I'm doing it that way again. The females will lay their eggs readily in the sand with very little encouragement. This is all they really need. I usually drop a lamp up on top of the cage as well, just to kind of keep things warm, hot actually, like it is down in the deserts that they live in. And you'll see the females, they will poke the tip of their abdomen down into the dirt, and sometimes they'll lay eggs. It's nice when they do it, right up against the sidewall of the tank. And you can see sort of a semicircle, a little sphere around each egg, a little bit of airspace around it. I don't know how they do it, but it's amazing. And when it's in the center of the tank, it's a perfect sphere, a little sand bubble. But when it's up against the edge, you can actually see the egg. And I've never had any luck hatching the eggs without dribbling a little bit of water down the side of the tank, or later when digging out the individual eggs from the entire substrate. You moisten them just slightly, and they hatch pretty quickly, within a week or two, as I recall. And then the larvae, they eat the same thing, these prickly pear pads. Be careful when you're handling these things. Some stores will actually descale them. They'll remove the spines from them somehow. This particular store I bought them from, however, did not, and so they had a pair of tongs like this there at the store for me to pick them up, and I did manage to get a few spines in my hand anyway, not even sure how. So the larvae, I usually cut up little squares of the pad, like 1 inch by 1 inch squares. And the larvae, they just tear into them. Some people swear that you have to plant these pads, or that they'll feed on the roots of them. And that may work, but I haven't found it necessary at all. And so I'll keep extra pads in the bottom of the refrigerator, and I will cut squares of them out as I need them. and just drop them in there, and it works out really well. The larvae will usually eat through them. You know, the larger the larva is, the more likely they are to tear through it quickly. But really, really simple bugs to keep. Just put them in there a few minutes ago. I'll check in on them a little bit later, and we'll look for some mating behaviors and such.